What are we talking about today? We're talking about the dawn of the digital day and how automation and real-time location solutions are addressing workforce challenges. That's kind of what the preface of what we're discussing today. My name's David Phillips. I'm humbled to be here. I've been asked to represent Zebra Technologies to talk about this subject today. I run a solution sales and consulting team here in North America. So we're responsible for bringing solutions to market that enable our customers to utilize automated location data. All right. So today's objectives. First objective is I'm hoping to get that you walk away from here today with an understanding of the importance of automation and how that plays in a rapidly changing supply chain environment, right? Because it is changing rapidly. Objective number 2 is understand how what we call humans, people, and machines will work together to support these changes. Hopefully you have humans working around you. If not, maybe they're people, or maybe they're people that just need coffee. Number 3 is understand the use cases that are possible today where automation is supported with what we call intelligent edge devices. Okay, any questions so far? Everybody still awake? Excellent, let's move on. So why automation? Well, one of the most powerful forces reshaping markets today will be the production and provision of products and services ever closer to the point of demand. So what does that mean? Well, what that means is it basically means is when you order it, you want it in your hands immediately. If not immediately, maybe the next day or maybe that afternoon. So the market is changing. Everybody wants it faster, and they want it cheaper, and they want it for free. So what's been driving that? So e-commerce primarily, right? We're very familiar with this. It's driving the shift in the flow of goods and how they get to market. Traditionally, it would be that you would hop in your car, you would go down to the Wally Mart or to the Target or to your local mall or the local grocer, and you would do the last mile delivery for yourself. You would go to the store, you'd pick up your goods, and those stores were fed through their distribution centers by full truckloads, and they'd push product out to the floor, and that's how you did it. Today with e-commerce, basically what you're doing is you're sitting in your house, and there's a bunch of parcel delivery companies that come and bring product to you, and they get their product through fulfillment centers, and those fulfillment centers are fed through distribution centers with LTL trucking, okay? And so the traditional piece, the back end piece, is still pretty much in place about how the products get overseas and get to us. It's a $370 billion a year market. It's 15% growth in that market, both in the B2B and the B2C arena. So just like you are expecting products to show up at your door, our customers that are businesses are expecting things to show up immediately for them as well. So we've been training folks very well over the last decade here on expecting something overnight, okay? So what does that mean? Well, what it means is that parcel volume is up. So UPS, FedEx, and USPS have seen a substantial increase in just the last 5-6 years in parcel volume, from below 8 billion parcels to well over 10 or 11 billion, okay? And so what that means is it's a 20% CAGR. You're seeing it from 2018 to 2023. They're expecting 20% growth in that market, which means by 2023, you're going to see a doubling in parcel deliveries. We don't do something different, that means there's going to be a doubling in deliveries themselves, okay? That's not sustainable. UPS, USPS, and FedEx are all straining to meet current demand as it exists today. So that's where we're talking about automation and location. So what's driving that? Young Americans are flocking to cities. They're ordering more goods online. I'm not young. I am an American, but I do order stuff online. The expectation has been set, fast and free, right? That's what everybody is expecting. Oh, and free returns. If I don't like it, I'm going to send it back. I'm going to pick up a phone, call it, immediately get it shipped back. The other problem is that there's urban congestion. Okay, so if I'm trying to deliver a parcel, how do I do that when streets are already clogged with vehicles? If I'm going to try and increase over 5 years, if I'm going to double the amount of parcels that are getting out there, how do I do that in such a congested environment today already? Well, that of course leads us to the automation piece. So according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, when we look at the supply chain and what happens within a warehouse, right? There's a whole bunch of primitives that happen in a warehouse. There's about 14 of them. But the breakdown in the labor cost is such, as I find this here, about 10% of it is in receiving, 15% is in put away, 55% is in the pick process to get something out of the warehouse, right? And then check, pack, ship. So once it's stored, it takes 55% of the labor cost to get that out. Now, if we look at the trend, right, everything is moving closer to the customer, which means this storage is happening closer to the customer. That pick process still has to happen. The volume is going up. It'll double in the next 5 years. So we have to apply automation to these processes in order to support what's coming down the line. Okay, and that's just what we know of. So how do we do that? So automation supports two types of activities, physical activity and knowledge activity. Okay, so, and that's done between two things, robots and software. So we see that today all around us, right? When we're in a manufacturing facility, I spent part of my career at Ford Motor Company looking at all of the robots that would move product from one area to another. They would do transfers, a lot of transfers, a lot of bringing things together to get welded. That's what's known for the physical activity. And then of course the knowledge activity is in the software, which says, hey, what am I supposed to do next? Given all of the circumstances and everything that I know about what's going on around me today, what should I do next? Okay, so those activities are broken down into tasks, and tasks are even broken down further into skills. And again, we quantify those in two ways, physical skills and knowledge skills. And what will end up happening is skills will map to individuals or robots, okay, depending upon the value that skill creates, or the activity creates in this particular case. And artificial intelligence and analytics will support both automation functions, both for the physical and for the knowledge. So here's that humans thing again. Anybody like a Star Trek fan? Anybody? Okay, so you know the Ferengi when they call them humans. Okay, so if I say that, that's what I'm going for. Okay, so people and machines, right? So this is a very basic diagram of the way life is going to work for us in the future. And so you have activity that needs to be done. A machine will do it. The activity will get completed, and then there's a QA process that happens. So people are in the green, machine is in the purple, and the activity is in the yellow. And so the machine is going to do its thing, the activity gets completed, and then the QA process, some person is going to look at it and go, yep, it happened the way it's supposed to. Or eventually some machine will actually look at that and go, yep, that's going to happen the way it's supposed to. That's where artificial intelligence will kick in. But really what you'll see is more of exception processing being done as exception management by people. And then those people will manage the rules, the artificial intelligence rules that make the machine better, okay? And that's really it on a large scale. So when you see the breakdown of automation between machines and people, there's going to be a lot of co-processing, and that's how we see automation within supply chain. Now, location plays in all of that in a primary way. Location is a component of visibility. Visibility is the premise of just understanding where something is. Not how long, just where something is. Where is it at this point in time right now? So that I can look at automating through software the tasking associated to what do I do next with this thing that I have, okay? So a little bit on automation for inventory. So yesterday, somebody had to go through and count stock all over, right? And I have customers that do this today. They will go through and inventory cycle count. We're having just a conversation on that today with somebody in the room, doing cycle counting for inventory, having to do that manually, and today we think about robots that can actually go up and down aisles and do instantaneous inventory counting, both on using passive RFID technologies, visualization technologies, things like that. So they will leverage automation and artificial intelligence to identify stockouts, assign worker tasks, and order products. So think about AI, where I have artificial intelligence identifying open positions, right? Is there product there or is there not product there? What kind of product should go there once I identify it, right? And then be able to tell the rest of the system to say, I need this delivered, picked up out of that particular shelf in the warehouse, and brought out to the store floor to be stocked. The next is inventory checking. Another way to do this on an industrial scale. So today and yesterday, again, cycle counts. People would take lifts, and when they would go out and they would have to go all the way up. Very manual process. Make sure every box was up there. Make sure every that the pallet was there, that it was in the correct storage location. And not only is it labor intensive, it's also a very dangerous task. And as warehouses move to lights out facilities, this becomes much more difficult to do, right? So tomorrow, what you'll see is automated inventory checking with devices like drones, right? So drones will fly predetermined paths through warehouses at different altitudes, and using a combination of sensors like passive RFID readers to be able to read passive RFID tags, like LiDAR to indicate how high the unit is, like ultra wideband to indicate where it is within a facility indoors. They'll be able to fuse all of that sensor technology to be able to do inventory in an automated fashion. Robots. So before, robots were very discreet in what they would do. They would move something from point A to point B, and that's all they did. And that's all they do in those particular cases, in particular for manufacturing. You had to build fences around them because they were not aware of anything around them. No sensors were built in there. All they knew is they had to grab something, pick it up, and move it over to another place or hold it in position. Today, again, because you see a melding of those skills and tasks between people and machines, you're going to see more friendly robots with people. They're going to be sensed. They're going to recognize that there are people around them. They're going to behave in such a manner that is conducive to to people's safety. For product packaging, yesterday you would see people walk around with carts doing picks, right? I would pick product off of shelves and walk that around. A lot of warehousing solutions today will have somebody go around in a serpentine manner going through the warehouse to be able to pick products off shelves and build up orders. Tomorrow and even today, you'll leverage automation to improve that productivity by bringing the method of the, okay, I'm going to work this area in a warehouse. I'm going to start picking things off of shelves. As this robot comes up to me and it says, hey, this is what I need, I'm going to reach up and I'm going to grab that off the shelf and I'm going to give it to the robot, and the robot's going to continue on doing its task. So if you remember the slide that I showed you that talked about the 55% of the labor cost associated to that transaction within a warehouse, it's here. It's literally, this is where the majority of the cost is. So companies are looking at, how do I automate this? And if you think about the pick process, there's so many portions of it that break down, right? So it's not just, I've got to get the cart, I've got to pick up the order. The order says, go grab these things. I start walking. I'm in this aisle, then I go to the next aisle, then I go to the next aisle. But as I'm doing that, I'm pulling things off the shelves. Maybe a light is telling me which one to grab next. Maybe my sheet is telling me, and my tribal knowledge is letting me know that that's where we actually store it and keep it. So that's where we want to grab it from. But in the future, all of that is going to be decided where the humans will just be working in a very small area because they have dexterity to grab onesies off of a shelf, and they understand what that one is because they have the intelligence. And then what's going to happen in even further in the future as artificial intelligence gets better, you're going to see people will no longer have to be grabbing things off the shelves. It's not about the dexterity of picking up the one single piece. It's recognizing what that one single piece is just by looking at it, by the machine looking at it. So that's what's really from an automation perspective. Now, how does location play into that? Location plays into it because no matter what, I have to know where that thing is stored at all times. Okay, I have to understand, and if I as a person need to know that, the same thing is true with the robot when they're doing the automation. So location is still a key component to automation. It is a necessary element of data to make automation function the way you need it to. So, sorry about that. So, robots are going to be using machine vision and sensors and machine learning to mimic those human behaviors. So, picking something up, picking the right thing up, and putting it into the right spot. Okay, and that's coming. That's we're already starting to see that in proof of concept. Next is distribution center management. It's going to start looking like a large vending machine, right? Lights out type activity. You're not going to see people doing the activity anymore. They're going to leverage automation throughout and increase their accuracy and lower their cost. So I've actually been in, has anybody ever been in a lights out facility that like literally there's automated storage and retrieval systems going all over the place? They're it's pretty incredible to see. I mean, you just hear this big whir and whizzing going on in the background, but there's no lights on. And then things start showing up front. It's pretty incredible. So a little bit about analytics. So we talked here that, this is automation. Analytics is going to be a portion of kind of a component of automation. So you're going to start to figure out what you can and can't do. And so, the first thing we talk about is weather. You can't do anything about the weather, or really can you, right? Weather impacts revenue and cost metrics for retailers and shippers. So the analytics can actually start to identify locations for distribution centers, right? That's the information we can get out of analytics for shipping specific types of products. Doesn't have to be everything. So you can start to really curtail based on what the data is starting to show us. It can determine the type of supplies and the quantity and the time that the material will need to get through the supply chain. We can optimize schedule, routes, and loads based on the weather. So what that leads to is predictive logistics, right? Advanced analytics can enable shifts from reactive to proactive, manual activity to autonomous, and standard service to personalized service. Because you can start to do the predictive piece based on the marketing, based on routing, work allocation, customer interactions, things of that nature. So you can do both demand and capacity planning predictively. You can do predictive network management and intelligent route optimization. Any questions so far? All right. So key takeaways. Automation through robotics, AI, and machine learning are impacting industry now and over the coming years. We're embracing next generation supply chain technologies, helps bridge that labor gap that we see. And again, a lot of that labor gap that we see is going to be associated to the picking process, if we can really start to close in on that. And there's a growing portfolio of technologies that can economically deliver location-based insights to support automation. Okay? And so again, my name is David Phillips. I appreciate your time. I'm going to be up here for some question and answer if you'd like. You can visit us over at the booth over here at South 441. We've got lots of cool things to go look at, lots of great solutions, lots of intelligent edge devices to go play with.